Okay, he's back. I'm back. Moving on with the what is to be expected from the Orange Bastard as soon as he assumes the power of the presidency of this country. And by the way, he has so many things he's going to do on day one. Are you aware of what he's promised he's going to do? Let me share with you what Axios, they have kept track of the promises he's made, the Orange Christ, God, Lord Jesus, Bastard Donald Trump, what he has promised to the psychopaths who voted for him, okay? He's going to, this is day one, okay? He's going to settle the Russia-Ukraine war. He's going to close our border. He's going to cut federal funding for schools that teach critical race theory, although no school does, or any school that has a vaccine mandate. He's going to begin the largest deportation operation. He's going to end the electric vehicle mandate. He's going to increase drilling and fracking. He's going to begin ending inflation and making life affordable again. He's going to terminate the so-called open border policies of Biden. He's going to end Bidenomics and start MAGAnomics. He's going to end the Green New Deal. He's going to end birthright citizenship. That is for people who are born in this country, no longer makes them automatic citizens. He's going to begin reducing energy costs by 50%. That means gasoline on day one is going to go from $3 an hour or $3 a gallon to $1.50 a gallon. He's going to ban trans women from competing in women's sports. He's going to appoint a task force to review cases of January 6 prisoners of war. He's going to pardon those January 6 heroes. He's going to stop flights bringing migrants into the United States. That'll be interesting. He's going to roll back biofuel regulations in the military. He's going to restore and expand the Trump travel ban that was on people who followed the Muslim faith. He's going to roll back what he calls job-killing auto regulations. He's going to direct Secretary of Veterans Affairs to fire sadistic Veterans Administration employees. He's going to ask for resignations of those involved in withdrawal from Afghanistan. And the ones who have retired, the generals, he's going to order them back into active service so he can try them for treason. He's going to bring what he calls common sense and competence back to the Oval Office. He's going to turn the country around. He's going to terminate all Biden policies harmful to workers. He's going to sign several unspecified documents. He's going to sign an executive order banning federal agencies from colluding to censor free speech. That means he wants workers in this country to be able to scream racial epithets at each other without being, fired for it. He is going to shift parts of federal law enforcement to immigration. He's going to do all this by himself because he's God, Christ, Lord Jesus. There's more. He's going to revoke the federal DEI requirements, inclusion and equality and so on and so forth. He's going to revoke China's most favored nation status. He's going to revoke Biden's executive order combating firearms. He's going to reverse every Biden-Harris, what he calls disaster. He's going to combat anti-Semitism. Oh, yes, indeed. He's going to restore loyalty to U.S. farmers. Loyalty to U.S. farmers. Okay. He's going to restore what he calls constitutional government. Oh, my God, this sick bastard. He's going to repeal certain U.S. collaborations with the World Health Organization, which means he's going to withdraw the country. He's going to remove, I mentioned, critical race theory from armed forces training. He's going to reduce violent crime. He's going to reduce crime by immigrants. He's going to put sanctions on Iran. He's going to kill a possible second Trans-Pacific Partnership plan. He's going to have the Department of Justice investigate district attorneys he disagrees with. He's going to have the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Director, Steve Dettelbach, fired. He's going to end specified fees for fishermen, or unspecified fees for fishermen. He's going to end troubles for Hispanic Americans. Oh, well, bless his heart. He's going to empower the Border Patrol. He's going to convene the Food and Drug Administration panel to see if hormone treatments cause violence. He's going to commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht. I should know who that is, and it doesn't pop into my head. He's going to cancel every policy harmful to farm workers. Policies harmful to, okay. He's going to break up Biden administration's censorship regime. He's going to ban transgender people from the military. He's going to address military recruitment, retention, and morale. He's going to terminate federal staffers implementing DEI policies. He's going to suspend refugee admissions into the United States. He's going to support parents' rights. He's going to revoke Biden's pro-immigration executive orders. He's going to establish criminal penalties, but he's going to ask Congress, Jesus. Now, this is all on day one. This sorry son of a bitch. Axios says this is setting the stage. He is for an explosive first day in office. Pardons for the people who tried to overthrow our government. Think about that for a minute. It's just... what is going to amount in Trump's fevered fucking senile brain, a vacuum sealing of our southern border. A massive regulatory rollback affecting goddamn near every section of the American economy. No more rules. Let's go, folks. Now, all this shit matters because the tone and tempo of the next 4 years will be set on day one by Trump and his band of fascist assholes. Because they're going to be armed with just a whole goddamn bomb bay full of executive orders. And they're preparing what you might call an early shock and awe campaign to lay the foundation for what destruction this son of a bitch wants to effect on this country during the next 4 years. So Axios says that the big picture here is that Trump's day one promises largely fall under three different themes. Now, this is according to an analysis Axios did of hundreds of his speeches and press conferences and interviews. Okay, number one, of course, immigration. Got to get rid of the brown people. And, of course, the black folk will be next. But let's get rid of the browns first. No issue, according to Axios, has defined Trump's political identity more than his crusade against immigration, particularly after border crossings surged under Joe Biden. So he's put together what can laughingly be called a brain trust of real psychopaths, led by the Nazi Jew Stephen Miller. He's the one who came up with the idea of taking children from their parents and putting them in cages. Think about that. And along with the Nazi Jew, the former ICE director, Tom Homan, who was a willing partner to the Nazi Jew in destroying families, causing psychological damage to thousands upon thousands of people and children, damage that will never be repaired. So these two, the Nazi Jew Stephen Miller and the Nazi Christian Tom Homan, they're going to by all reports, unleash a flurry of executive orders ending Joe Biden's temporary parole programs. They're going to restart construction of the wall, and they're going to end refugee admissions, political asylums, weather-related asylum petitions, people who live in Central and South America, especially Central America, whose economies and governments have been utterly and absolutely destroyed by 120 years of American corporate mismanagement and destruction. Jesus Christ. So he's hell-bent, this orange Christ, God, Lord Jesus bastard Donald Trump, on immediately initiating the largest deportation operation in U.S. history, despite all the logistical challenges that he is not going to be able to meet. It's going to be utter fucking chaos. So, as Axios says, watch for a day one photo op flexing the new administration's deportation muscle. And of course, along with that, this filthy bastard has vowed to issue an executive order ending birthright citizenship, which is in the fucking U.S. Constitution. But Trump, you see, being the ignorant Nazi dictator he is, he thinks, well, all I have to do, Supreme Court said I'm above the law, so fuck the Constitution. No more birthright citizenship. And, of course, this will set up this clash over the 14th Amendment, which is where you find that birthright citizenship. It was designed to give citizenship to the Africans who had been dragged, humiliated, taken from their own countries and brought here to be enslaved people, helping the white folk establish capitalism in the South and the North. So the 14th Amendment either will disappear by an act of Trump, along with this filthy goddamn 6-member majority on the Supreme Court, or it might be one of the issues that leads to bloody conflict in the streets of this country. Now, the second, Axios has divided 3 themes. Here's the second theme. They call it red meat for MAGA. Okay. What it is, the second bucket of executive orders will try to institutionalize the Nazi Christian fascist culture wars that have dominated Christian fascist politics over the last few years. The top priorities for day one include a ban on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Got to get rid of that. Inclusion, equity, diversity, fuck that. This is a white Christian nation. And get rid of the requirements across the federal government regarding DEI, pardons for supporters convicted of smashing into the Capitol of the United States on January 6, 2021. Oh, that'll be nice. And also, this orange filthy pig whose campaign spent millions of dollars on anti-trans ads also wants to use executive action to ban trans women from goddamn near everything, I guess, though the exact mechanism for doing so, I mean, how is he going to do that? It's not clear. Well, in Trump's senile brain, all it requires is his issuing the order. That's all. Well, there's no issue here. What the fuck has Axios got its bloomers in a wad about? I'm sure is the Trump family's big issue today. All I have to do is declare it, and it is. The other of the last of the 3 big issues, big business. Okay, CEO and investor confidence has really just taken off as a result of Trump winning the election. Corporate America, you see, the capitalist pig fuckers in this country, the predators, the real people who don't give a shit, the millionaires and billionaires and corporate chieftains who don't care, gentle listener, if you or I live or fucking die. They don't give a shit. There's no reason to. But they revel in Trump's promise to slash 10 regulations for every new one that was introduced during the Biden administration. He's going to just turn the phrase predatory capitalism into a fond memory. This is going to be unleashed cannibalistic capitalism. He's vowed to expedite permits for drilling and fracking, even if it means acting like a dictator. You remember that? And also, January 20th will start the clock on his one-year goal of reducing energy prices by 50%. Yes. No. He also plans to aggressively target Biden's climate policies, all of them, by cutting off support for electric vehicles. Now, of course, the South African immigrant crazy fucker Elon Musk may have an issue about that. But anyway, Trump is also going to roll back all emission standards. And he's also going to end any what he calls job-killing regulations affecting automakers. I didn't know there were any. Did you? I thought the auto industry, the workers, were doing great, that there were plenty of jobs, that there were vacancies, that the auto industry is looking for workers. Oh, but never mind. So the investor class in this country, that is a pejorative in my mind. The investor class, those, I'm not talking about the mom and pop investors who might have a 401k that has stocks in it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the millionaires and billionaires. They're working feverishly to persuade Trump to not impose sweeping tariffs on our trading partners, because that's just going to force them into an untenable position, the millionaires and billionaires. But Trump seems intent on bringing in a new era of MAGA protectionism in the marketplace here as soon as possible, which is going to kind of fuck with his idea of reducing prices. Are you kidding me? Now, I realize what I'm sharing with you here is a mishmash of bullshit. I know that. And you know it. But this is what this psychotic son of a bitch has promised he's going to do. Now, many of Trump's promises, of course, will require the support of Congress. And some of this bullshit is hyperbole, which even Trump has said at one time or another. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. I'm not really. When he had that interview with Kristen Welker on Meet the Press on NBC, he said this, quote, "It's hard to bring prices down once they're up. You know, it's very hard." End quote. Now, this is despite his pledge to crush inflation on day one. He's going to day one. And he has also, the orange Christ, God, Lord Jesus, freak, fool, Nazi, has tamped down a bit his talk of settling the Russia-Ukraine war within 24 hours of taking office. And he told reporters last week that peace, may be even, quote, more difficult, end quote, than ending the Israel-Hamas war. Oh, well, whatever. You know, orange bastard Christ, God, Lord Jesus, Messiah, Donald Trump. Yeah, but you can do anything. And if you don't like the way things are going, start killing people. The Supreme Court says you have a right to do that as long as it's within the confines or the parameters of your official duties. If the Congress refuses to do what you say, just walk in with a fucking AR-15 and start wiping out the ones you think are really stopping you. You have a right to do this now, orange bastard Christ, God, Lord Jesus, Trump. Unless I am misreading what the 6 members on the fascist side of the margins in the Supreme Court said you have a right to do. Huh? Or have I got it all wrong? I don't think so. Joe Biden. According to The Hill, he is getting ready to leave the White House with very little fanfare. If you remember when Trump left the White House, when Biden defeated him in 2020, he snuck out like a fucking rat, sneaking out the back door. Trump got on the helicopter and disappeared. Didn't even have the decency, the constitutional respect to show up for a peaceful transition of power. To the contrary, what Trump ordered was a fucking riot, an attempt to overthrow the government. But Biden's not going to do that. Biden has, if you've been paying attention, and frankly, I haven't been paying all that attention, but he's gone on several major foreign trips since the election. He also pardoned his son. He pardoned 37 people serving on federal death row. He is trying desperately to reach a ceasefire deal in Gaza, which Netanyahu will never allow. He has gone ahead and used his executive power to increase assistance to Ukraine. And he's been delivering speeches in and around Washington, D.C. But his public presence, and you probably have noticed this, the only time I have really seen him recently on the television has been for the awards to the entertainment industry at the Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts last week. But his public presence then has hardly registered while the orange Christ God, Lord Jesus Nazi, Donald Trump, his waterfall, his fire hose of announcements for his second cabinet, his network television interview, his first press conference, takes up 80% of the media atmosphere because the media in this country, the fucking bastards that they are, continue to provide this son of a bitch. This is not normal times. This is not Kennedy Nixon. This is not any competition that we've had between Democrats and Republicans for the presidency. This is the utter destruction of democracy by Trump's own words. And yet the fucking media in this country continues. Kristen Welker ought to hang her goddamn head in shame. NBC should have its ass kicked up around its shoulders, giving that son of a bitch all that time on Meet the Press. That wasn't Meet the Press. That was Meet the Toadies. Meet the apologists. Meet the people who are going to do their goddamnedest to normalize fascism in this country. You think I'm kidding? Go to YouTube and look at that whole interview. Kristen Welker should be ashamed of herself. I don't care how intense she tried to look and leaning forward in her chair into Trump's psychic space. Screw that. The question she asked and the follow-up question she ignored. Way to go, Kristen. Way to go. A Republican strategist named Doug Hay. Hey, Doug. Hey, Doug Hay. In referring to Biden, this bastard said, quote, he's been disappeared for a long time. We saw him go to Africa. Didn't take any questions that anybody could see and was largely shielded from the press. We know he's going to go to Italy. Presumably, media will have the same amount of access, end quote. And shielded from the press. Why doesn't the press shield America from Donald Trump? No, I mean, really, there is nothing, not a fucking reason to provide Trump television time, airspace, column inches in America's newspapers of record. Why? We know what this rotten bastard is about. We know what his plans are. We know how sick and degenerate and immoral and unethical and what a grifting, lying, convicted rapist he is. So why try to present him as the president of the United States? Why try to provide news coverage of the shit that he's going to do? Let America find out the hard way. Let this stuff that he's going to try to do trickle down, splash all over us, and then let us react. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.